Hello and welcome to the Daily Neloo. Today I'm here with actress Nia Peeples, and Nia, thank you so much for being here on the show.
That's my pleasure.
So let's, you had some really big success young in life.
Yeah.
So maybe tell us a little bit about your journey.
Well, most people know me from my acting, right? So I started on the TV series Fame. That was when I was 22. It was huge all over the world, and I went from there. It's like every decade I was in a hit TV series. Mm-hmm. From there, it was Walker, Texas Ranger, and Young and the Restless, and then Pretty Little Liars, and The Fosters. So there was always, it was really astounding because I was blessed enough to be in a hit TV series every decade. So what happens now is people of every age bracket know me from something different. Yeah. Like, wait, you don't know. Like, I had young people on Pretty Little Liars going, they'd be tweeting with me going, my mom doesn't believe I'm on with you. And then the grandmother would pipe on, I know her from Walker, Texas Ranger.
That's so, what an amazing fan base to have.
Yeah. It's great because you realize that you've been in like a multi-generational living rooms. And it makes people more comfortable with who you are, so to say, which is important for where I am now. So yeah, I had a really successful career. And it's funny because most people would say, wow, just you had hit records, you had your own talk shows, you had your own, shows that you hosted for MTV, all of this stuff, and you're hugely successful. And what I have to say to that was, yes, I succeeded at a lot of things at a very high level, but there was always this low-grade dissatisfaction with anything I did.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I think that is something people don't see when they look at to the top of the mountain and they see someone standing there.
Right. Well, I knew what I had learned really well to do was succeed at things.
Yeah.
And so, okay, there's a joy in knowing, hey, I can get to the top of that mountain. But then once you're there, now the only thing that's going to give you that high is a higher mountain. And so
then you're constantly climbing,
seeking something else and feeling like, okay, this is a skill set. This isn't who I am. I have a skill of climbing this mountain, but I've not asked myself the question, is this the mountain I want to be on top of? Like, who am I? And so there was always this question, like, what is it that I'm missing? And I don't think that's uncommon. I think that there are, CEOs of hugely successful multinational corporations that feel the same way. They feel like life is living them, no matter how much money they make or how they turn a company around or how they succeed in these certain things based on standards, set up by our society that we have accepted. Why is that the standard? And how, with all of that, succeeding at all of that, can I not feel fulfilled?
Can I still feel that dissatisfaction?
Yeah. How do I feel that dissatisfaction in the middle of all that? And that became very loud to me when my youngest child went off to college a year early. Shockingly, like, talk about empty nesting a year earlier than you think. It's just like, wait, what? And now you're going to leave me here with my husband? And you just go, whoa. And then you realize, well, that's not working. And what am I going to do? And so my fourth marriage broke up. My youngest child went off to college, and I asked myself the question, all right, Nia, you're not babysitting anybody anymore. Like, you don't have to take care of anyone. Because I was the one in the family that always made the money, kept the home together, built it up.
You were like glue.
Completely.
Yeah.
I looked out for everybody. And so I thought, wow, this is the first time it's just me. What do you want? And I couldn't answer that question.
Was that scary?
I sobbed. I went to the beach and sat there and just cried and cried and cried, because I knew that contained within the answer to that question was my truth.
Yeah.
What do you really, really
I'm getting chills.
Deeply want? That's different than what do you want to succeed at?
Yeah.
What do you want? And so I knew that I had to hear that voice again. I had to make space for that voice. And I knew that that voice is not going to come crashing through, that it unfolds in stillness. And I knew that there was a lot of noise around me about who I was, what people expected of me, what I expected of myself. You know, there's these stories that you tell about who you are. I was the actress who was always on a series, and I lived in Paradise Cove, and I had a surfing husband, and I blah, 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 blah. You have all these stories, and you start, you know, laying out your day to fulfill what that story is demanding of you without asking, who are you really? And so I sold my place in Paradise Cove and gave everything away. And just,
and this is
four years ago,
yeah.
In 2015. And I said, just the only rule was listen. And when you feel the slightest bit of inspiration, move on it. Whether it was a big one like, oh my God, I want to go to Peru, or a small one like, do I really want avocado on my sandwich? I mean, it was that, because even as a mom, you just eat the leftovers.
Yes.
I don't care if you like it. Let me clean the plate off. Right?
Yeah.
And you lose touch of who you are, even in the smallest bits. So that was, I had nowhere to go. I had no agenda except to listen. And so I started moving. What
gave you the insight to even make that decision to live that way?
Well, I mean, in the 6 months that, 6 months before that, I knew it wasn't working. Things were not working.
Yeah.
I am such a dedicated person, and I am skilled at so many things. I'm a skilled communicator. I can check my own shit. I mean, can I say shit?
Yes, you can say shit. You can say shit.
Sorry. I know how to be accountable for figuring my stuff out. And so I was doing everything as right and as dedicatedly as I could do with my relationship with my husband, and it wasn't working. And so I just had to get to this place where I went, something's not working, and it has to do with what you believe is right. Something in your belief system is just not right. So I don't know what the truth is, but I know that these things are a lie. And so all I did was start, okay, if this feels like push, then that's a lie, and I'm not going to do it. If I feel like I have to do this to make this work, I'm not going to do it. And I just leaned back and made space. And in that space, it was amazing. When you make that space, the voice starts to turn up a little bit.
Yeah.
And at first it's like, you might want to look on YouTube for, I don't know, marriage. That's what I was in the middle of, how to make your marriage work. Or it wasn't even I put down the how-to books and picked up the Who Am I books. So I might have tooled around on YouTube and said, who am I really? Mm-hmm. And Abraham Hicks would come up with the law of attraction.
I love her.
And I was just incessantly listening and listening, because you're rewiring your very belief pattern. I could not work any harder or be any truer to that relationship and make it work, because I wasn't being real with what was actually standing there with me and who I was.
Yeah.
So it's just, again, that little voice. And the more when you start beginning to identify the shit that's bullshit, you don't even need to know what's true. You just need to stop doing the bull. Let's just stop it.
And make some space.
And in that space, little bits of you start springing up, and you have to step on it and follow it. And then it just opens up and opens up and opens up and opens up. And now it's amazing, because I know who I am in truth, more now than ever before. And I'm sure there's more to be revealed, right?
Yeah.
But I know it, and every skill I have attained in these 57 years of life are now going to be lined up behind what I know to be true.
Yeah.
And that's completely different.
That is, and it's so exciting.
Yeah,
to be able to put all of that skill set and all of that momentum that you've built through your life,
right,
towards something that really aligns.
It's incredibly powerful and scary, 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 because you're leaning into the unknown.
Because you had a lot of success early on, your survival needs were taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's when the other wounds start to come up, right? Because when we're trying to figure out like where my income is going to come from, or if I'm going to be able to pay for this or that, or keep a roof over my kids' heads, those deeper wounds that are laying dormant are not as painful.
Well, being an actress, I always had to worry. I mean, I was always successful, but jobs are like you have a contract and then you don't have a contract.
Yeah.
So they're short. I mean, if you end up on a series, you're lucky. You got a year, you got 2 years, and then you got to go look for another job. So I'm looking for another job every year, almost every year. So there was a little bit of having to negotiate that. Mm-hmm. But you are so busy with that kind of it's not shucking and jiving. It's like in that industry, it's like, how do I stay positive and move forward? Oh, okay, I didn't get that pilot, but I'm going to get this one. Okay. So I know that. And so you don't have time to let those wounds come up. And so later in life, when things start slowing down a little bit, it all kind of came crashing in.
Yeah. You couldn't stop looking at it. You couldn't avoid it anymore.
Nope.
That uncertainty, you're saying how scary it is. How do you look the uncertainty in the face and keep moving beyond that fear?
Well, it's an interesting thing because what you get to learn is that all possibilities exist in the unknown.
Yes.
And if you're not leaning into the unknown, you're just moving furniture. Like you're taking old stuff that you already know and you're moving it around. You're rearranging the furniture in your home. You're not creating anything new.
True. Yeah.
And so, human beings like what's familiar because it's safe, and yet we still feel like, wait, I'm meant to grow. We are meant to grow. So there's this uncomfortable feeling of being in that box and uncomfortable in not being in the box. But I know my nature is to expand. So how do you trust leaning into the unknown? You just do it. And the more you do it, the more you begin to identify, oh, this is how I'm creating. It's not that I'm setting my mind on something and making it happen with my muscles. It's that I have an awareness that that is a possibility, and that's a possibility, and that's a possibility in terms of the expression that I'm wanting to bring forth. Now, sit back and watch what lines up. But you have to be willing to lean into it and trust and be aware of how it's forming and what the path of least resistance is to that in every moment, because it's constantly shifting.
And do you have a daily practice to kind of to stay in
You know what? I don't have a daily practice because, I do and I don't. So my daily practice is to listen. If I wake up in the morning and my brain starts coming in with things I have to do, I stop because I know that's the wrong direction. And then I'll implement something. Now I have a toolbox, right? So meditation might be something, reading a particular thing and then meditating, listening to certain frequencies might help, going for a walk to bring me, nature always brings me present. So I have a toolbox and I know myself well enough to know what will bring me back to that present moment. But that's my practice, is to listen and then choose the tool that's appropriate in the moment.
So who is Nia?
It'll be different tomorrow. This video is only going for right now. I am someone who absolutely knows the frequency of love. And I know that this is our optimum frequency. And I understand my gifts around it as well. I understand that I message it. I understand that that because I feel it, others can feel it too, and they can help attune themselves to it. And it is my passion. Living from this frequency is my absolute passion. And I know when I'm out of it, because I don't always stay aligned, but I know when I'm out. and it's my devotion to come back into it.
Yeah.
And this is my purpose. And I actually, I believe it's everyone's greatest purpose, is to find that alignment and move from there. We all have unique expressions of it, but the most powerful place to express from is that place of deep truth, which is the frequency of love. And so that's who I am. And I know the gifts that go along with that. So
that question that came to you 4 years ago, once your daughter left, of, you know, who is Nia?
and what do you want?
And what do you want? I think a lot of people get to that place in life, young or old, and unfortunately they don't have the courage to really answer it, or look within to answer it.
They don't look within. Usually what they do is they either numb themselves in some way, or they busy themselves with something else to achieve. Anything else. So I'm not, you know, I don't know what I want really, and I'm not happy with what I have. So what do I want? I want a new house. What do I want? I need a new job. What do I want? I want new clothes, or I need to lose weight, or whatever that thing is. And you can, those might be true, but they're so superficial. That's not the real question. And then you busy yourself with all these goals that you're setting that you still can't answer that deep question.
I asked that question to my brother when I first moved back from New York, and he actually got angry with me. Like, the idea that he can actually define what he wants it angered him, because for so long he didn't allow himself to live from that space. So I hope that as people watch and hear you speak to this experience, they are willing to sit with that a little bit. And it's really uncomfortable.
It is.
And the answer is not going to always come up right away, but just giving yourself that space to sit with it and just be okay with not knowing is okay.
Absolutely. No, and it's, I think that if we can reframe what we're really after, is we are learning a new guidance system. Instead of just achieve, get this, be happy. That's not the real system.
That's what's led us here.
That's right. That's right. So it's really accepting that you are learning a new guidance system. If you're a mom and you've got a baby and he's just learning how to walk, you're not going to expect that child to stand up and suddenly run.
Right.
Little by little, their little bodies are going to get used to it. Or it's like learning any other sport. If anybody has learned how to surf, like, you get out there and you've got the board, you've got the wind, you've got the tide, you've got the current, you've got the wave, you've got all this stuff going on.
Sand in your eye.
Sand in your eye. And you just have to feel your way. And then all of a sudden there's this moment where you go, oh, I'm locked in. I know what that is. And if you give yourself permission to take the time it takes to learn this, then you will not judge yourself, and you will delightfully allow it to unfold. And it'll go faster.
Yeah. And I that baby analogy, I think, is perfect, because we never, I don't know any parents who are like, come on, kid, get up! You crawled yesterday. Why aren't you walking?
Yeah.
We give so much compassion to that space, and allowing that for ourselves is
compassion
critical.
for ourselves is the hardest, I think.
And you said you got into this journey 4 years ago when your daughter, the starting point was your daughter going off to college.
Yeah.
Where are you now?
Well, she did not graduate from college, but I dropped out. So what are you going to do, right? Well, so now it took a lot of time listening and tearing things away. I mean, it's amazing how the majority of the time is spent reinforming you as to who you really are, and tearing away those things that you thought, and you just go, oh my, what?
Is it easy to let those things go when they come up?
Well, yeah, because you know what the feeling is of it. Like you learn to identify. You learn that the guidance system is the way it makes you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, like, if I'm judgmental on someone else and say, well, this is wrong, that's ridiculous. That there's something in me that I'm judging. There's some standard that I've held to myself that is not from a place of love. It's from a place of fear and programming. So you learn how to tear those things away. And now I traveled all over the world for 4 years. Just, I didn't have a bucket list, but it was, each trip would come as an inspiration and I would just go. So I knew I was being called back to LA. And the energy is very, this is going to sound really woo-woo now. I found out in my 50s I'm a total hippie. But you can feel it, like when you've spent enough time out in nature, and anybody can do this. You go on vacation, you come back to the office, and you're like, what? Like the hair's back like this, and the energy's just.
And you can easily, your energy can easily dip.
Oh,
if you
get just whirled right up in it. And so I just knew I needed to be in nature, which is why I landed up in Topanga. And what has been wanting to call forth through me now is a thing called human harmonics. And the subtitle of that is Access the Quantum Divine, Align with Your True Design. And what it is a community that of people kind of in my own circle that are all devoted and know the truth of this thing that is love and how to get there. And they're absolutely devoted to it. And so it's a community that has these beautiful people in the inner circle that are all adding their wisdom and their skill set to communities of people that are wondering what's happening on earth right now. There are so many people out there going, I can't go faster. I can't go harder. I'm absolutely unhappy with where I am right now. Why is that? And would somebody please just be kind? Like, why do I have to live in this world that is me against you? Why, if I'm going to have a business, do I have to be concerned with capturing the market? Yeah. Is it not enough for me to be expressing myself with this coffee shop or this shoe shop or whatever it is I have and have a sustainable, beautiful life? Isn't that enough? You know, why is what I'm feeling inside in such opposition to everything that's happening around me? So with Human Harmonics, we're creating a space where people can come and learn about it and practice with it and grow with each other. So we have a lot of tools for people that help them learn how to raise their frequency. We have places where they can go to have a conversation and meditate and ask questions about all kinds of things. We sell jewelry.
Beautiful jewelry.
Beautiful jewelry. And we're partnering with different artisans and stuff that have the same devotion, if you will, to give people tools, because, you know, as human beings, sometimes you just need that. You need to remember, okay, this is the truth of who I am. Sometimes you can touch something and it'll remember, or a scent will remind you, you are made of love. Yeah. And you have people around you that are holding that frequency for you and with you. So just be quiet, breathe in through your heart, close your eyes, and intend to connect with those people that are in that frequency of love. So that's what Human Harmonics is, and it'll evolve into.
Spearheading that.
I am spearheading that.
Whatever that means.
Yeah, I know. I'm leaning into the unknown.
With Human Harmonics and the conversation that you're opening up for people, what has been, you know, people's response to it? Oh. Is it a truth that they recognize?
Yes. Well, they're there, and they all they know, like if they're wee beginners, if they don't know, when I say beginners, I mean they're really, really living in the world the way that the world is right now, and they're not familiar with all of with all the tools that are actually out there. There's a whole world of people out there that are in this space that people living in that other space don't know. Yes. So, what was the question?
How are people
responding to it? So they get called in and they think they cry because their heart opens and they don't have to be fighting so hard, and the heart opens, and then it's like, oh, there I am. Why am I feeling these feelings? And it feels safe to unfold that innocence that is the truth of who they are. And then they start asking where they go from there. How do I live from this space? Because I have this relationship with my mom that's horrible, or I hate my job and I don't have money, or whatever or I'm, you know, I have this amazingly successful company that I hate running every day? How do I come to this space? What do I do with this? How do I apply it in my life? So there's a lot of different questions, and it's all in their relationship to this thing that they know is truth. How does it function in the real world?
If 30-year-old Nia could have a look into the future and see what you're doing right now, how would she respond?
Oh, I would have leapt at it right then. Because it's not like people don't discover this thing that they didn't always know. You always knew it's there. You always knew it was there. Yeah. But society doesn't acknowledge it, or you were told to push it away, or whatever it is. So it's a meeting of yourself again. So if at 30 I could have looked in the future and said, and seen myself doing this, I would have been, well, I'm just going to do that now. I was telling a friend of mine, being an actress, I've had my face tested ridiculous amounts of time. And what I mean by that is whenever someone is testing for a part, like particularly with TV series, they'll go to the audience and ask, they do all these test audiences. What do you think about this person? Do you like her personality? And so I remember the head of CBS took me out to lunch one time and said, man, every time you hit the screen, there's a strong upturn. And every time you go off, downturn. Mm. So, and they can lay out what it is they feel comfortable with you, blah, 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 blah. But the questionnaire is like, how tall is she? How old is she? What's her hair? So they look at me and they say, well, they like her because she's mixed race, and they like her because she has dark hair and it's long, and they like her because she has brown eyes. So the way that they're quantifying what it is people are receiving cannot touch upon what people really are receiving. Yeah,
because they receive your vibration.
Right. And so, that's exactly right. So what they're seeing, they just don't they just don't measure it properly. But I always knew that, it's not because I'm mixed race. There's a little bit of like, oh, I see myself in you. You know how it is when you see someone that looks like you. Oh, there's a me. But it's I see myself in you. I feel myself in you. I feel myself in you. And so now I'm just not waiting for roles to come to be able to
connect.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Nia, thank you so much.
Thank you
for sharing
this. Yeah.
This was really, really beautiful. If our audience wants to get in touch with Human Harmonics, how do they do so? With me? LinkedIn.
I don't know how to use LinkedIn. I'm telling you, man.
We'll show you.
Yeah. I'm horrible with all that stuff. But you can go to Human Harmonics. Well, right now we have these calls. Humanharmonics.life is the website it will be open the beginning of November.
Okay.
Otherwise you can reach out to me here on LinkedIn.
Beautiful.
Follow me on Instagram.
And follow you on Instagram. And these calls are really beautiful, heart opening, and you have to kind of experience it to put words to it, but they're open to the public.
They are open to the public. You go to humanharmonics.life/heart. And there's a couple more left, but go ahead and sign up and just join in, because what people really need to know is that we're much more than these bodies. And in fact, more than 99% of our bodies is made of frequency. It's just frequency. So we can determine what that frequency is based on where we're placing our awareness and how my frequency is interacting with yours. That's why you can meet someone who's just a happy-go-lucky person, and you just feel, they don't even have to say anything to you. It's just like, oh, I feel good. Yeah. Or same thing with someone else who you can feel that too. So it's managing our own energy and learning how to not just manage it, but intentionally create with that, because everything is energy. Tesla said that. Not me, the actress. I'm just repeating shit from other people.
It's the same truth that gets restated.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.